Hello everyone, welcome to the latest video here in European Elite as we look at some of the best teams who have played volleyball in Europe over the last few decades. Today, it's going to be the best men's team of the decade from 2000 to the end of 2009. And alongside me to pick the team here today, I'm delighted to say three great coaches of the game. First off, a fellow Brit, it's Joel Banks. Hi, Joel.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. Pleased to be here.
Joel's joining us from Belgium. In Italy is Andrea Anastasi. Ciao, Andrea.
Ciao ragazzi, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here.
And I'm also delighted to say that Tuomas Sammelvuo also joins us on the call today. Tuomas, I hope you're well.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Everything is fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Right, guys, a tough job for you today. You've got to get your thinking caps on. We've given you the shortlist. We want to pick our best 7 for our team. We're going to start, as we have done with the other videos, by picking the setter. So let's go to Andrea first. Andrea, who is your setter in this team and why?
Setter is not so easy, guys. You said Middle East really good. I was thinking that probably in this decade, one of the best setter can be Pavel Zagumny. For sure. Why is, in my opinion, not every time in the evaluation is concerning the technical of the skill of the setter, the personality of the setter, the intelligence of the setter, and for sure Pavel was one of the best in this decade. Also, he have success in 2014. You know that he was winning the world champions, but he won a lot. Also with Poland, 2009 the Euro, 2012 the World League with me. You know, I think that yes, can be one of the best setter of this decade for sure.
Yeah, of course, voted the best setter at the Olympic Games in 2008 as well. A big standout highlight for him. We're going to go across to Joel. Is that who your pick was or somebody else?
I can see very well where Andrea is coming from, and it's very difficult to pick. All of the players in each position have very much quality. Personally, having looked at everything, my choice would be Nick Ribic. Personally, I'm a fan of him. I like very much the way he played the game. I think very, very cool under pressure, particular body language and personality, which reflects a quiet calmness and a certain confidence. Good at the net, good when the ball is close to the net. I remember he's been very successful in his career, both club-wise and internationally. And my personal preference is I just really like to watch him play. I was always a fan of his style, and perhaps he found himself in a great Serbian team in that period. But my choice would be Gribic from Serbia.
Okay, and Tuomas?
Yeah, I'll follow the line of Joel, but also I thought like Andrea for Zagumny, because I think Zagumny was a setter that had a great fantasy. He made very difficult choices, and he was able to make maybe not the strongest spikers around him better always. But then Nicole, I think what in many clubs and national team, he has won a lot, and what Joel said about the personality, about I think the choices in the right moments, the body language, the leadership, and all those skills. So that will be my pick also, Gribic.
In terms of leadership that you talk about there, is the setter the main player on the court that you look to for that characteristic?
Yeah, I think setter should have a certain kind of personality that I think it's the role that you have to think for 5 people in the court who can give you the ball after mistake. Probably this player I don't give after mistakes. So I think it's a little bit different role, but not necessarily only the setter. So there can be other leaders also. But in this list, and I think also the example of the work, the full commitment on volleyball on Gribic. So I think in this case about his leadership, it's really seen in his teams. Maybe he's not technically the best setter in the world, but I think the choices and the coolness in the difficult moments and so on. So I think he's, in terms of these things of leadership, is what I like.
And so many of these teams that we've picked in these European elite videos so far have had so many players from Italy, from Russia, from Serbia, from Poland. But Andrea, I think you wanted to talk about a player who's on this shortlist from Spain, Miguel Angel Velasquez.
Yes, in my opinion, is one player that we have to talk if we talk about setter. For this reason that told Tuomas before, no? Technically for sure, mentally for sure. The commitment of Miguel in every team when he was playing. Of course, you know, some player doesn't have the luckiest to play in some great national team. If you play in Italy, Russia, and Serbia, it's much easier, no? But Miguel Angel, in my opinion, Velasquez make the history of one country like Spain, because, you know, the victory of European ship was the star, but also in the club where he was playing. Because I remember when he was playing in Palma de Mallorca. Palma de Mallorca in that moment was the coach Marcelo Mendes, one of the best coaches in the world. And believe me, they was leading a lot of league in Spain, but not only. They was playing really good in Champions League. After he go to Bełchatów in Poland, that he won a lot of titles. You understand? I mean, and I am lucky because I was coach of Nicola, I have coach of Zagumni, I have coach of Miguel Angel Velasquez, and you know that all these guys was really different between each other, but at the same time with a great leadership. And this is one important thing. No, there is no doubt. No, when the setter set the ball, there is no discussion. This is the ball, you have to spike. No discussion. The three guys was like this. For this reason, I think that also we have to try to talk about Miguel Angel in this decade because he make something special in this period.
Okay, perfect. So we have 2 votes for Nikola Grbić. We have 1 for Pavel Zagumny. Are you happy to let Grbić be the setter in this team, Andrea?
Yeah. I am lucky. I told you that I was coach of Nicola when he was younger. We have a great relation. He's like the guy said, he's an amazing player. You know, if you have to choose between this player, you know exactly. No, probably Nicola have one thing that nobody have. Mean the motivations, the focus every time. Like now, like a coach is really strong coach because he have the same commitment like all the other guys, and it's okay, perfectly. I don't have no discussion.
Excellent. Okay, so we have the first player in our team of the decade from 2000 to the start of 2010. Nikola Grbić is our setter. Next, let's pick the 2 middle blockers. And Joel, I'm going to come first to you. Who are your 2 picks for the middle blockers in this team?
This for me was the most difficult subject. I thought it was easier to choose outside hitters than it was to choose middles. Again, I look at the quality of each of the player, and obviously some players, they have their athleticism, their physicality, they have their serve, they have their block. One of my personal favourites, and again, I talked from my heart about who I like to see play and who I appreciate, particularly for me who played the game, was Stefan Hübner. This was a guy for me who, he understood the game, he followed very good what was happening on the opponent's side. Perhaps didn't play in, like Andrea said, a top team that was winning top titles. But for me, it was more like a computer. Could follow the game, could understand very good the tactic of the opponent, and made, in my mind, really maximised what he had. A very smart, very clever middle blocker. So my first vote would be for Stefan.
Okay. And your second vote?
Yeah, I went for something perhaps the opposite. So if I was constructing the team, I was looking then again for something that's perhaps a little bit more physical. Kuleshov, I think for me again, this is a guy who big physique, huge physical potential, mentality, just a real monster at the net. It's difficult to make a choice, and I'm open to the suggestions from my colleague coaches because this is a tricky decision. The other players also have a lot of quality, but I would choose for Alexei Kuleshov.
Okay. And Tuomas, any names there that you agree with, or 2 different selections?
Well, I agree. If I start from Hübner, because also had the honor to play against him. I know him personally very well, and just his blocking was unbelievable. He's on my list, but then if we think about the whole decade, then I will have to add also one name for sure. But Hübner was I have three guys here. But Hübner just the reading, the understanding of the game, and also kind of leadership, and that was really something unique. And the middle blockers, that it's very hard when you hit his hands, the block, if they don't block, but the ball stays always somewhere in a good position for the team. And how they followed the setter, how they were reading and moving after that, I think Hübner was absolutely one of the best. And but then for the whole decade, I think Mastrangelo also had the honor to play with him in Cuneo, and for him, like how he works, he was the whole decade there. Service, maybe the attack is not his the strongest point that he had. He didn't jump like a monster, but in block was a very intelligent player. And in national team, in clubs, he was always there and helped, taking care like crazy of his body. And in these terms, I think that would be one my choice for sure. Then I would like to discuss between Hübner and also Kuleshov, because when Belgorod started to dominate the European volleyball, it was just Kuleshov was physically so strong that I think he could make some difference on that position. Also in blocking, together with the height that he had, and he would be there also in discussion. For me, it's Mastrangelo for sure. Then I can discuss.
Okay, Andrea, can you add something to this debate?
Oh, for me, for sure, Mastrangelo is one of the best in this decade. You can't forget about him because he was impressive his career, stronger player. If you make one analysis, simple analysis about spike, block, and service, for sure, block and service of Mastrangelo's was on the top level in the world. Probably, like said Thomas, not so strong in spike, but in the same time, really clever, really intelligent, in my opinion. I have the honor to have him in my team for the beginning of his career in national team. And, I know him very well. He's amazing players. In my opinion, we have to put him because he's so good. The second, my choice is Hübner, the same. I have the same opinion. Hübner was an amazing player in every part. Probably was similar to Mastrangelo. No, service and block, amazing. The choice, the tactical things, the decision. Mastrangelo, great leadership also inside the team, but Hübner was amazing. I was studying him all my time to understand. I have I'm lucky that 2 years ago we made one meeting together and he was talking about block and it was like this. And I said, no, I don't want to talk. You talk and I listen because, it was amazing. Yeah, I can say clearly that for me, these two guys, I would like to play with these two guys. I have always the opinion that the Russian players are really physical strong, for example, Thomas. But sometimes when I look the middle of Russia, they took the ball really higher, but they are not so good tactically, and they choose sometimes like this. They are only powerful. Okay, they jump, they can take the ball. I prefer players more intelligent that they can decide. And these two guys, Mastrangelo and Hübner, in my opinion, in this list are the two players that I prefer.
What was Mastrangelo like to work with on a daily basis? Obviously, you as the coach are trying to teach your players and guide them, but do you also learn things from them?
Okay, first of all, I want to tell you one thing. Mastrangelo is sympathetic guys, first of all. No, it's really clever guys. Thomas, who was playing with him, that is like this. He knows volleyball really good. Every time I said, sometime when he's outside the volleyball is a strange guys, but every time I said that when the ball is over the net, is the most intelligent person that I know. He knows exactly what he has to do. And what I learned from here is more time. When I give him some advice or we talk about the strategy, he teach me some simple things, what he have to do. Now, every time he go on the detail, no, he said, okay, coach, what I have to do in this moment, in your opinion? And you have to give him some idea, no? When I was younger coach, I make confusion, no, in this situation, and sometimes I'm lost. No, you can do like this. Not easy. With Mastrangelo, I learned to give to the middle blocker simple information and to help them to take decision. Because sometimes you have to help them to take decision because you don't know if the ball go in this position or the other. Yes, we think because the flow of the game in some moment is in over some player. Do you understand? Yes, the tactical side in these guys was amazing in my opinion, and I learned a lot.
Okay. So
I would still add on Mastrangelo one thing that what I appreciate a lot is that when the pressure of the result or whatever the finals would be probably in the like very high, I think he was the player that always got something more out from him in the most important games. So I think this was one of his like amazing qualities also.
Tuomas, I'm going to stay with you because you made 3 selections in this category, and I think we can all agree Stefan Hubner gets the vote of one of them. But who are you going to pick for the other one out of Kuleshov and Mastrangelo?
Mastrangelo for sure.
Can we all agree on that as the second middle blocker to go with Hubner?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Perfect. Right. So we have Stefan Hubner and Luigi Mastrangelo to go with Nikola Grbic in our team of the decade from 2000 to 2010. Where should we go next? Let's pick the libero next. 4 people to pick from in this category: Mirko Cosano, Alessandro Farina, Hubert Henno, and Alexei Verbov. Let's go to Tuomas first of all to pick who you think should be the libero in this team.
Well, I think here Henno and Verbov, they are those 2 that I would discuss. I think when the rule of libero came, and then I think Henno was maybe the first player that really made the difference in this role, started to make a big difference on the court. And I played 2 years with him. I lived in the same room, and really is an amazing guy about the vision and understanding of the game. Outside the court is like he's not always thinking fully about being in great shape in next practice. Just he loved volleyball. He loved volleyball and still loves as a coach. I'm very happy that he became also in this career of coach and how he was setting, receiving with that kind of like. It was so everything seemed so easy because you just know where to be in the right place on the court. And then I think he also put kind of humor on the team, the positivity, and with him on the court, like it was easy to stay. And then just for these reasons, I think I would choose him. And just few words about Verbov also. I think as a Russian libero, there are not maybe so like world-style liberos in Russia, but he was definitely the one. And then also for him, like the love of the game, the full commitment, and also the technical some qualities were amazing. And of course also 2 other liberos very good, but my choice would be Henno.
Okay.
Also,
is there something?
Also,
Sorry.
Still to add, he won in Paris the Champions League 2001.
Yeah.
Then in Cuneo, Macerata, national team, and everything. I think, Henno is my choice.
So many titles. Is there a characteristic or something about French players that may be different to other players in Europe?
I think I think the volleyball that they play also, like how they stay on the court, and just the second line game is the joy of defense, the joy of this. I think it's I love the teams where you can see the identity. Oh, you say France, it's like this. You say a club team, so you can say some kind of skills or identity with how they play. So yeah, I think they have something special.
Okay.
Also technical.
Hubert Henno gets your vote. Joel, who is your pick for the libero?
I have the idea that in every generation there's certain players that seem to make that position their own, and there's guys that are easily identifiable with a particular position. The name that sort of really jumped off the paper in terms of international level volleyball, and particularly international games, not at club level but with national teams, were Verbov and Henno. For me, my choice would be Henno, for many of the reasons that Tuomas gave. I also feel that there's some players, especially on defense, and that's always something that stuck with me, that Henno looked like he didn't do much. He's not a guy who's running around and really busy in his spot, but he read the game well and he touches the ball really well, and his calmness and control just made the game look easy, and to all intents and purposes, he's a player who always looks like he has a lot of time. And there's certain players across many sports that are really proficient at what they do, and they always look like they have lots more time than the rest. And I think that with Henno, this was a guy passing, could take his zone and help the others around him, was very consistent and a great defender. So I think that he would bring, real quality to that position. So for me, it was quite a simple choice to choose for him.
Okay.
So also votes. Big leadership on the court, I would add also, very big leadership.
Well, it's funny you say that point, because we did a video with Giovanni Guidetti a few weeks ago talking about how he always wants to have a libero as the captain, which is obviously not allowed. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah, I think the captain, if you can make somebody captain on the court, but somebody just has that charisma, that also natural leadership, that I think it's not a matter of you are captain or not. It just is natural in some players, and in others probably don't. And I think for him was just that's what he was. So
okay.
And you have to be a good player, so earn the respect of the other people like this.
Andrea, your pick now. There are 2 Italians on this shortlist. Either of those take your fancy?
That's true. That's true. I was thinking a lot because I am Italian and I have some Italian name. I have to be honest with you guys. For sure, I am agree with Henno. In this decade, it was the most impressive libero, in my opinion. It's difficult to say, but in the same time, the libero started in 1908. In the world champion, and Mirko Corsano, he was a spiker in Parma, because during the league there isn't the libero, and he started this new adventure. And after he started with me in 99, because I was the coach of Italy, and he made with me 4 seasons, and not only because after I coming back in the second part, but and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. But really standard libero, I can say. Mirko, he wasn't something special. Henno, he was something special, in my opinion, really complete in every part. And this defense in this moment was amazing, unbelievable, in my opinion. Quality of reception was perfect for all these guys. Setting was perfect for this guy. Probably one thing that I appreciate a lot over Henno is the leadership, the personality that he put on the court. And this was something more. When we choose libero, also we want players with personality. It's really important. It's like a goalkeeper now. Now the libero became so important, and for sure. At the same time, Verbo, I don't put Verbo because Verbo stopped to play 1 year ago, 2 years ago, not too much. No? I mean, we can put Henno for this decade and maybe Verbo for the second. I don't want to say.
Yeah, it's true.
For sure, Henno, I am agree.
The only player on this shortlist we haven't spoken about, and especially you can speak from an Italian perspective, is Alessandro Farina. What can you say about him?
It was different player, in my opinion. First of all, not amazing players, and he was a little bit also lucky to play in one great team. All his career was Treviso. He spent all his career in Treviso, with great players, you understand? But I don't have about him the idea that he was great. Technically, The reception, yes, was good, but not perfect. Corsano was much better. Setting, normally good. It was one good guys. It was one good guys on the environment of the club, of the team, of the club. Don't make confusion. Stay in his position. We have a lot of players that have the same effort of Farina, but in my opinion, he missed a little bit in front of the other three guys. You know, there is for sure he was on the last. I'm sorry, he's not on the podium.
Okay. Right, so I think we can agree Hubert Heno goes into the team alongside our setter, Nikola Grbic, Stefan Hubner and Luigi Mastrangelo. Let's next put a star onto this team, a real star, the opposite, the point scorer of this team. 4 options from the shortlist. We have Ivan Milkovic, Igor Omrchen, Andrea Sartoretti and Marius Vlasui. Let's go back to Andrea first of all. Who would be your opposite?
Milinkovic.
Enough said.
If I have to choose one player in this list, I don't have any doubt. Milinkovic. Physically, technically, leadership, personality, character. Mamma mia. It was one of the best. I don't have any doubt. I have to be honest. For me, there is no discussion over these guys. Unfortunately, I know him because, you know, in the Olympic game in 2000, I lost the semifinal, and there was these younger guys that he was in national team also the year before, and they start to play this Olympic game and say, I think that now with this player, Serbia can achieve. They achieve a lot of results, but also he achieved results in every club that he got the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course, they went on to win the gold in Sydney in 2000. Joel, any discussion for you or same pick?
Absolutely not. I agree with Andrea. It's one name straight away, Ivan Milkovic. I think he's one of the best players to play that position ever. I think you could argue that. That'd be another interesting discussion at another moment. But yeah, 100% for the reasons that Andrea gave. He's physical, his leadership, winning mentality, and reliable. How many times he's been there at the important moments. So 100% that choice.
Yeah, stacks of awards, stacks of medals and stacks of titles. Thomas, 3 out of 3?
Yeah, no discussion, absolutely. And what both colleagues said okay, he was like a physical opposite, but the technical skills, I think how it didn't matter where the set was, he could always make him a position that the ball was here, and he would choose what kind of hit he would choose, and he always put him in a position to be able to choose what to do. And those technical skills, the power, serve, also block, leadership, and I think also you can look at him at 37 or whatever years at age. He looks the same. The body is the same. You can see the work that he puts in. So no discussion. I would just probably add on the list one player that also won a lot is Vlado Nikolov. That was not maybe like the monster, but he just maximized his potential, and he played in Cuneo, in Trento. We won with him in Tour also the Champions League. He was just a player that could maximize his potential very well and be there in the important moments. Just the add for the list maybe, but no discussion for Milinkovic, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great guy actually. He was the first person that I interviewed as a journalist as well, covering volleyball. So some happy memories with him. Just in terms of the other people on the shortlist, we had Igor Omrchen and Andrea Sartoretti. But Andrea, as someone who spent lots of time in Poland, maybe you could just say a few words about Marius Vlasui.
Marius was an amazing player, but in the same time, you know, he had a strange career. If we talk about 2000, 2009, we can't put him on this kind of list. No, he have, in my opinion, one strange career and international career. He achieved the top on 2014. We don't talk about this decade, of course, no, because we are focused about 2000, 2009. And Mario is just a powerful player. He made the history with his club, 17 years in the same club, and he won everything. You know, only on the international side, but okay, the Polish team maybe sometimes is not competitive for the win Champions League. We don't have the money, the budget for this kind of thing. For sure, he's a great player, but in this decade, in my opinion, there is a huge difference between him and Milinkovic.
Okay, excellent. Well, that was easy enough. Ivan Milkovic goes into the team as our opposite to go with our two middles of Stefan Hubner and Luigi Mastrangelo. Nikola Grbic and Hubert Henno make up the team. We've got two positions left. They're both outside hitters. And we're going to go to Tuomas, first of all, to pick your two.
Well, interesting spot, really. And,
your position, Tuomas.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to choose Tetjuhin on the team, and
Bravo.
because I think how many Olympics he played, I don't even remember, maybe 6. And I have the honor to have him as a general manager in national team here. And just, I think there are some players that, for some reason, if they are on the court, for the others, it's easy to be on the court. And Tetjuhin is one of those players, and not crazy physical, but the attitude and the focus and the also like the important moments, everything. And just you see the name Tetjuhin on the court, I think everybody else is a little bit calmer on the court. So and he manages to receive always in some kind of way that it's good for the team. I think you can just set him the hard balls, and he will always do something useful for the team. And then also as a Russian player, he was a good defender, great serve, spiking, and just the charisma and loved volleyball. And was there, okay, we talk about this decade, but I think that's obvious that for me, he's on the list. And for the other spiker, well, it's really, I put here names like I put also Papi, because I think Samuel is not a tall player, but and then for him there's one thing: he played in one club for 12 or 13 years in Treviso, and great receiver, really technically could watch him forever. And I think is one to discuss. I don't put him immediately. I'm really curious to hear the opinions of other coaches, but then also Kaziski. Kaziski maybe started his dominance a little bit later, not exactly from the beginning of the decade, but when he came, I think was one of the players that alone could dominate some games, and the physical power and the service and attack was something that when he came on the big, the big sheen of international volleyball was like you could watch him with eyes like this. And then I put also Antika here because I think he was, when there's some player that the serve is probably the hybrid serve, what we are called, maybe he was one of the inventors of, or the main inventor of this serve. And when there are some players that change the game a little bit, I think we have to discuss about them and the quality of the reception and defense and the attack in his way. For me, was a very, very great player. With him, you could always know what to expect. And so Tetjuhin plus these three guys, for me, under discussion. Difficult choice, very.
Okay. Well, let's throw it over to Joel.
Yeah, I've got a similar idea, really. I chose 4. I had 4 guys from this list. It's difficult as a fan. Yeah, Papi, small guy, technical, what an athlete, jumping, great reception. Could watch him play all day. I completely agree. The first name on the paper as a coach I would want is Tetjuhin. I think this is beyond a doubt. It's a guy, he's reliable. And I agree with Tuomas, it's a player you put in the team and the other guys are going to play better when he's there. And I think it depends what you're really looking for this kind of a team. If you're constructing the team, then you have to look at Winarski for receive.
Yeah.
Technical, block out, different kind of player, a lot of control in his game. Happy, the same. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum with that kind of outside hitter with a guy like Kaziski that is physical. He's big serve, big in attack, good on a high ball. So those are my four guys. I agree. I think for me, number one choice is Tatukin. And then it would be a good discussion with my colleagues. For me, Api, Kaziski, Winayaski.
Andrea, is there anyone else you want to pick?
No, for sure. It's not easy, no. If I have to choose, the first decision was for sure Tatukin, without any discussion, the same, because of the reception, of the spike, of the service. And the second player was Samuele Papi. I was lucky to be a coach of him, and I know how is important to have a player like this on the court, player that play every time, play every time in the topical moment, the topical match, they are present. Of course, after there is different discussion, because Winiarski, you can't put Winiarski, because Winiarski, in my opinion, is one of the best receiver of this decade. Absolutely. But at the same time, I choose Papi because Papi has something more, in spike, maybe in service on the power. Also, if he's smaller, Papi was really strong guys physically. It's not that you can feel that he's not too tall. Kaziski for sure, spike, service, reception, no. For this reason, in my opinion, Papi Tatukin is a good choice to have an amazing balance in reception. And now we know exactly that the difference also in this moment is the reception. We have to try to put more ball close to the net. Papi Tatukin, in my opinion.
Okay. So we can all agree on Tatukin. He gets in the team. And we've got votes for Michał Winiarski, Samuele Papi, Mate Kaziski, and also Stefan Antiga. I'm getting the feeling from you three guys that there's a lot of respect in the room for Papi. Would he be okay as the second blocker?
Yeah, I will agree because, Kaziski, but if we watch the whole decade, I really appreciate the player that has been there for so long and always there, playing all the time. And like I said also about Papi in Treviso, so long time in one team, and it's really a rare in sports world, maybe today even more and more, but then with not so huge physical, we speak about height, not about physical. Let's make this difference also. I think it's important because many times we speak about that this player is not physical. Basically, it means that he's not tall, but you can be amazingly physically even if you are smaller. And I think, I would agree on Papi also on reception, everything, like an all-around player in every, like, you need this kind of players on the court, and being there the whole decade in national team, in club, I will agree on Papi.
And Tuomas, just a final question, because I think we've selected the team. How do you compare the volleyball that was played in this decade to the decade that we've just finished? I know it's a very broad question, but are there any key differences you've noticed?
Yeah, actually, we speak about now about the guys that can receive, and also, okay, here sometimes with good reception you have less efficiency in attack than you have with bad reception. So I think the jump float serve coming like really one of the really, maybe with this new ball, let's see, because I go in some details that also I'm trying to make the analyze that why some players with the last ball and this ball with the float somehow is just not so efficient against the teams that can pass well. But then I think the jump float serve came, I don't exactly remember what year, but I think that has changed a little bit the game, the service. And then we always speak about speed, or that the speed is now maybe is even more, but I don't think so. In some teams, yes, some teams not. For example, we watched Brazil playing with Ricardo in the last, not this decade, but before. The speed was sometimes like so much that you could have 2 or 3 like bad sets every per set, and the players fix them. And now maybe also Brazil plays a little bit. So I think the speed, we also talk about the speed in setting, it's I can't make a big difference. Maybe the power in the serve has become like even more, but also I add the jump floats.
And Andrea, I'm sorry to say you're the oldest of the three guests we have today, but also the most experienced. So, you know, do you notice anything different? Do you agree with what Tuomas said?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny because every time we was thinking that serve reception was important, but now it's even more.
Yes.
You know, we can do nothing if you don't have a great service and great reception. You know, if you have one team with good balance in reception, you can play. Basically, we all know that with a high ball, it's difficult to make the difference. It's difficult to win the game with a high ball. Mean that we have to try to put the ball close to the net, and the quality of reception can make the difference. It's not so easy because the speed is improving, because we practice much more the service, jump service than before. The float service in general, you know. I was making one clinic about this because it's concerning the time that we spend on the practice on the service, no? And every one of us, I'm pretty sure that we practice every day the service, and more than every day, mean in the beginning, maybe during the practice, and maybe after the practice, mean all the day we practice service. And this is because service is really important. For this reason, I think that the evolution of service and reception are the key in our sport again. And if you see the great team again are the team that have a good balance for good service and good reception.
And Joel, a question for you. We don't have to pick a coach for this team, but in terms of the coach that you are today, who were the major influences from this decade that have maybe had an influence on the way you work now?
Wow. Without sounding too cliche, I've tried to work up from the bottom. So I've tried to take something from every volleyball experience I've had, whether it was as a player at a lower level. There's always things you can take from different coaches that you've worked with. The ability to speak and to learn from your colleagues and your peers, I think, is really valuable. And certainly for me, I'm in a luxury position that I get to work every day in an environment that I love. And as my network expands, I try and build a solid working relationship with my colleague coaches to exchange ideas. So it's difficult to pick a real coach or a real role model. For my part, I think it's interesting to talk about the development of the game and about the coach's role for developing the technical and the power, but also the man management and the man management of the player, and how we arrive where the players follow your vision and they trust and they start to take their responsibility. We've spoken a lot today about leadership and responsibility. And I think those things become more and more prevalent in team sports. So yeah, I try and take something from everyone that I've worked with. I was fortunate to meet these two guys and a number of other top coaches, and to speak and to listen about volleyball, and to try and take some things away and take it back to your own environment and your own team.
You think volleyball has bigger characters now than it did then, or the other way around?
No, I think that for me, I think that obviously the media and social media gives a lot more exposure to let's say the top personalities. But in every generation, there are flamboyant characters. There's particular athletic guys, or particularly hard spiking players, or skillful players, and I think every generation has its charm.
Okay. Well, guys, I think we've picked our team. Let's just go through it one more time. We've just picked the two hitters, Samuel Papi and Sergei Techukin. Ivan Milkovic is the opposite. The two middle blockers, Stefan Hubner and Luigi Mastrangelo. Nikola Gerbic is the setter, and Herbert Heno is the libero. Final question I'm going to go to Tuomas. Do you think this team would be able to get up and running and be able to play well with each other within, a week or a few days even? Or do you think it would take longer than that, despite the fact they are all outstanding players?
Today, for sure, more than 1 week. I think because today, I think it would take a little bit longer than 1 week. But well, yeah, if we talk about that decade, and I think volleyball-wise, and so then maybe to, as always, like speak about team chemistry, there are really some strong characters on the team. So I think that would be very interesting to see how the characters match, how the big names, the best players get able to play together. And I think that the beauty of our sport is, I think it's the most team game in the world, because you can't hold the ball, you can't play time, you just touch the ball, and how you touch the ball, it depends how your teammate will do after. And but yes, for sure they would play great volleyball.
Perfect. Well, guys, I think you've picked a great team. Hopefully, everyone who's watching this video will agree. Hopefully, they can leave their comments below the video and let us know what they think of the players you picked, and maybe some other players that they should have included as well. But, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're all safe and well and everything goes okay. And we'll see you on a court around Europe somewhere soon.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Cheers, guys.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.